People are at the game, and they're like, well, there probably weren't 67,000 people there, but it was a really good, really big crowd on a Saturday night in the final non-conference game before Ole Miss rolls into SEC play this coming weekend. And remember, Keith Carter visited with us before the season began, and they were upping the capacity of the student section by almost 3,000, going from, 10,000 allotted tickets to 13,000 allotted tickets in the student section. And I think that probably is where you get that number. It does make me wonder, what is the crowd going to look like? Maybe this Saturday for an 11 a.m. against Kentucky. Certainly on October 26th when Oklahoma rolls in. Certainly on November 9th when Georgia rolls into town.
Pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah. And you're certainly got some games coming up where every seat will be filled.
And for Georgia Southern, and if we play Lane later, you'll hear him, he's hard on his crowd, but he wasn't on that one because, they referred to those
packed.
first 4 games as preseason games and to fill it up, and they did fill it up. I mean, you're little empty seats here and there, but yeah, for Georgia Southern, when everybody in the stadium knew what the outcome was when the ball got kicked off for the 4th week in a row, that was a fan base that did a really good thing because Ohio State was not, and I know their stadium's bigger, but still, it's hard to fill up your stadium against nobodies, and Ole Miss fans did that.
Let me give you the drive chart for Ole Miss from Saturday night. Opening possession of the game, touchdown, 31 seconds. Second possession, field goal, minute 7. Third possession, what in the world is this? A 6-minute, 7-second possession that ended in a touchdown. Fourth possession, punt. Fifth possession, touchdown, 35 seconds. Turnover on downs, end of half. Second half, touchdown, 4:13, touchdown, 2:25, touchdown, 44 seconds, interception, touchdown, minute 43, ball game. They score fast.
They do.
Georgia Southern led the time of possession. I think most people that watched that game on Saturday night would say that Ole Miss looked a little bored. That there was a little bit of last of 4 in a row in the non-conference. And still, they held Georgia Southern to 38 yards rushing net and 157 yards through the air. Defense gave up 195 yards of offense on 70 plays. That's an average of 2.8 yards per play, while the offense rolled up 607 for an average of 8.8 yards per play. Jackson Dart was there was the one interception, so he was not flawless. 382 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. No quarterback in the history of SEC football has thrown for more yards in the first 4 games of the season than Jackson Dart has for Ole Miss this year. Yeah. 219 yards on the ground, 388 through the air. It was Jackson Dart until the very end of the game. Austin Simmons came in and played, the last couple of possessions.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier, a monster night for Trey Harris, 11 catches for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. Could have, maybe should have been 3. Not so sure about the push-off offensive pass interference.
It wasn't one, but, whatever. Bored is the right word. That are lethargic, maybe, and how could you blame them, right? They get out fast like they tend to do, and injuries started piling up a little bit. Pegues got hurt. Now he continued to play. Nolan got hurt, but he continued to play. No Ivy, no Daughtery, although he probably could have played if it was not Georgia Southern. So they're a little banged up anyway, banged up on the offensive line, trying to get guys back healthy. And you could sense that was a group of 18 to 23-year-olds that were, okay, I'm winning. This game's not close. SEC play starts next week. I just kind of want to be done with this. You could feel that, and you say that, and they won 52 to 13. But I think that was an apt description of that team, is that they're ready to play games that the opponent across the field can actually beat them.
Yeah. Quick look at team numbers for Ole Miss through 4 games. 55 points per game. That's tops in the SEC. Their total defense is 6th in the SEC, giving up 239 yards a game. Scoring defense, they're tied for first with Texas, giving up 5.5 points per game. Touchdowns scored, they are first in that category with 29 touchdowns through 4 games. Total offense, they lead by over 100 yards over Tennessee, 670 3/4 to 565 3/4. That's total offense. They've been dominant on that side of the ball. Ole Miss is averaging 600. That's the same one I just used. So rushing offense, Ole Miss is third in the SEC at 248 a game, and passing offense, they are first by 100 yards, 422 yards per game for Ole Miss through the air. All of the numbers are eye-popping. They're off the charts. They're really, really good. We really start to learn about this football game, this football team this Saturday.
It gets
Ole Miss
real
has done
now.
what good teams, maybe what great teams do against inferior competition. They've covered.
It's blown them out.
I know that's not the way you describe it. They're 4-0 against the spread this year. What's the saying? Hey, Dad, good teams win, great teams cover?
That is the saying.
So they've done what they were supposed to do in about as dominating a fashion as you can possibly do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, to overuse a phrase that I love, price of poker goes up.
Yep.
It doesn't go way up. I mean, it's not like it goes from, a $10 ante to a $1,000 ante this week, but it goes up. And Kentucky, by a marathon, is better defensively than anybody that Ole Miss has seen so far this year.
No doubt.
Kentucky's really, really good on the defensive line.
Yes. And so if Ole Miss – and I think there was some precautionary holdouts in this game. But if they have 3 guys out or whatever on the offensive line, then it's going to be an issue because Kentucky presents problems up front that Ole Miss, as you said, just haven't simply seen this year. This game's fascinating to me because the lines of scrimmage are much better. But what I think Ole Miss's biggest weakness is still probably is not getting tested on Saturday until Kentucky proves they can throw the football on somebody competent. I'm not going to think that they can. So price of poker goes up, but I still don't think that we'll know if Ole Miss's biggest weakness is a true weakness for maybe even a couple of weeks still.
Yeah. Kentucky at home, at South Carolina, at LSU before getting to the first open date of the season. So that's 7 in a row.